Welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement podcast. I'm Shannon Kinney-Dew, creator of AFreeSpiritLife.com.
And I'm Ashley Walburn, owner of Home Holistic. And together, we are bringing you the Mindful Mama Movement.
Mindful mothering is about nurturing your heart and soul while you nurture your children. It's about consciously awakening to your inner wisdom and being peacefully present as a mama no matter where you are on your journey. From discovering your newborn to loving and accepting the wonderful people who've left your nest. Our movement is empowering mamas to be authentic and to live inspired lives. We are so happy you're here.
I said up is where I wanna go. To be free, to feel free, to be me.
Hey everyone, it's Shannon.
And Ashley.
And we are here to introduce to you episode 9 of the Mindful Mama Movement podcast. In today's show, we get to chat with Sydney Leroux.
Sydney Ray Leroux Dwyer is a Canadian-American professional soccer player. She's an Olympic gold medalist. She has won a World Cup in 2015. And as a forward, she is currently signed by FC Kansas City in the National Women's Soccer League. I know Sydney because she had a baby this year in September, and I was her doula. And so I was with her really throughout pregnancy. I have a doula partner, Jessica, and I think she signed with us in March of 2016 and then had her baby in September. So we really got to know each other well during her pregnancy and childbirth. And today we are really just talking about becoming a mom, pregnancy, what it's like as a professional athlete, and how her life and her body has changed since becoming a mother. We'll talk about the highs of becoming a mother and the struggles. And I think you'll really enjoy this time with Sydney.
Yeah, and what I love about this interview is she is a new mom to a 6-week-old baby. And so whether you are pregnant for the first time or you are in the throes of that infant stage, or whether you're a seasoned mom and you just want to reminisce, it's so fun to hear her birth story and to hear where she's at in her stage of motherhood. Take a moment to join our Facebook group, the Mindful Mama Movement. We'll leave a link to that in the show notes, or you can go to Facebook and type in Mindful Mama Movement, and that group will come up. We'd love for you to be part of that community where we'll be sharing more after this show with Sydney.
Enjoy the show. Hey, Sydney, welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement.
Hello.
Hi, Sydney. It's Shannon. We're so happy you're here. And I'm just excited to get to know more about you. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do, what inspires you, and we really want to know what stage of motherhood you're in.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. My name is Sydney Leroux. I am a soccer player. I live in Kansas City, Missouri with my husband, baby, and 2 dogs, Penelope and Boss. Motherhood is, I have a 6-week-old baby boy named Cassius. So getting used to his schedule as a newborn was pretty tough, but I think we have the hang of things finally. So it's been really nice. My mom is here. She was at the birth, and Ashley will be able to tell you some funny stories about her, I'm sure. But yeah, so she's here now, and she's helping me out now that I'm getting back into working out. So it's nice to have a little bit of a babysitter in my mom. So it's been nice.
That's great. So you said you're getting back to working out. It's been 6 weeks now. Are you feeling ready for that at 6 weeks?
I go back and forth. When I was pregnant, all I wanted was to be not pregnant anymore so I could start working out and having my baby. But now that I've had him, it's kind of like this, I want to spend more time with him. I'm not exactly ready to get back into the swing of things right away. So I really want to take my time. My birth was a little hard, so I'm trying to give my body the right time to come back.
Mm-hmm. Well, how did your pregnancy, how did that go for you? How did you feel being pregnant? And then how did that affect your soccer career?
Yeah, I found out I was pregnant in January when I was getting ready for qualifying for the Olympics in Rio. So
Wow.
that of course, went out the window when I found out I was pregnant. So I think in the beginning it was really hard because I was watching my team play, and I felt like that's where I should have been, and it was sad in the beginning, but and especially because I didn't show for a really long time, so everyone would always be like, "Are you really pregnant?" And that would really actually annoy me.
Yeah.
Because especially with the way that I felt when I was pregnant in the beginning, I was so tired. Luckily I didn't have any morning sickness, but the tiredness almost killed me. Like, I would try to get things done, and I would go to the grocery store, and I would have to just leave like my buggy of groceries, and I would have to go home because I was so tired I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I've always been this elite athlete where there's really only one, like one way. I work out hard, I play hard, and then having to kind of put that on hold for 9-10 months is tough. And so getting my body back into that after being pregnant is even harder. And it's hard for me to give myself a break, especially everyone's like, you have to ease into it, and there is no easing with me. It's like 100 miles per hour at all times. So learning how to deal with that is definitely new, but I think I'm getting better.
How are you dealing with the fatigue that comes with having a newborn now that you've had the baby? And how's the night? How are the nights going for you?
The nights, I really can't complain. He will nurse at midnight, and then he nurses at 5 or 6 in the morning. So we get a good 5-6 hour break. But I would say once he hit 2 weeks, I was nursing every hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. I think he was going through a growth spurt. So that was very difficult. And we introduced a bottle to him so my husband could feed him. And my husband, it happened one time, and one time only, because my husband gave him the bottle, and then he woke me up after he was finished with the bottle and said that he was still hungry and that if I could just top him off. And I'm like, well, so we just completely, like, what's the point of us both being up? So now it's just me. It's just me and the baby, which is nice because my husband is in playoffs now, so he needs all the sleep he can get, and I really don't mind having that, like, quiet moment with him, It's nice.
Do you think because you're a professional athlete also that you can understand and be maybe a little bit more sympathetic? Like, I don't know that other moms would be able to say that and really honor that he's in playoffs and he really needs his rest.
Right. No, I mean, if I ever asked for help, he definitely would, but I haven't felt, especially right now, I haven't felt like I'm dying of exhaustion.
Yeah.
I actually, the last week, since he's been nursing at around 5, I will nurse him, put him back to sleep, and then I'll go work out. And so Dom and the baby will be sleeping. My husband and the baby will be sleeping. By the time I get back, he's still asleep. So it's almost like I wasn't gone.
Let's talk about your birth story. I would love to hear. For those of you that don't know, I was with Sydney as her birth doula for her birth, but I would also love to just hear about it from your perspective.
Yeah.
And also just talking about like your mom and having her there with you, what that was like also.
Yeah. Okay, well, Ashley will tell you that I probably texted her and Jessica, the other doula, maybe every day for the last month of my pregnancy because I was so tired of being pregnant. And then I would get these like text messages, and they're like, well, yes, that's amazing that that happened, but that doesn't really mean anything. And I would be so sad, like, oh my God, I'm going into labor soon. And they would always ask me, oh, are you having contractions? Are you having contractions? And I'd be like, well, maybe. And everyone says you will know once contractions started. And once contractions started, you absolutely know. And so I remember when Ashley came over, I was like, remember when I told you that I thought I was possibly having contractions? I have never had a contraction before until
You now know.
oh no. Yeah, I didn't have Braxton Hicks. I didn't have any of that. So when it came on, you really knew that you were in labor. So yeah, I literally tried everything under the sun to get this baby out. The pineapple and the rocking on the ball, and I mean, we did it all. And I really think you can do everything, but if that baby's not ready to come out, they're gonna stay in there until they want to make their entrance into the world. And I feel like that's exactly what Cassius did with us.
Yeah.
So it's actually a funny story. On September 9th, my husband had a game at home. So he was in Kansas City, and I go to every game. And this specific game, I wasn't really feeling well in the morning. I was nauseous. And I remember I was standing in our living room, and my husband came from like the hallway into the living room, and he goes, "You're not coming to the game today." And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, something's just weird. Like, I don't trust it. Something's weird. I think you should stay home. And he goes, you look different. Like, your belly looks different. And I'm like, oh, whatever. Anyways, I didn't really want to go because I was tired anyways. So I stayed home. And he came home, and I went right to bed. And then at 6:30, so actually rewind, I went straight to bed. He went out with some of his teammates and came home, and then I came out, and he was watching TV at like 5 in the morning, and because he can never sleep after games. And so I went and got a glass of water, went back to bed. He was watching his game. And then an hour and a half later, I woke up. He was in bed next to me, sleeping. And I woke up to a dream that someone kicked me in the vagina.
Oh, I forgot this.
Like, so weird.
Something to do with soccer, I think.
And I woke up and I screamed, ow, 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 ow. And so I went to the bathroom, and then I went to wash my hands, and then I was like, I think my water just broke. So I called my mom, and it was 4:00 in the morning, Vancouver time, and I said, you need to get on a flight. She gets on a flight, and I'm like, I don't know if my water broke, really. Like, it wasn't that movie, like that movie where it happens in the movies and it like gushes out of you. It wasn't like that. It was just different. And I'm like, did I just pee? There's no way. And so that's where I was kind of like, maybe my water broke. So I called my mom. My mom finds a 7 a.m. flight. And then I call my mother-in-law, and I said, I think my water broke. She's like, well, what happened? And as soon as she said that, my water broke like the movies. Luckily, I was standing in our bathroom, but it was insane, like an insane amount of water. And you definitely also know when your water breaks like that, because you can't do anything. I was stuck. I'm like, how do I move? How do I get out of here? Should I wake up Dom? So I texted Ashley and Jessica, and I'm like, okay, my water definitely broke. And they sent me a text message back, and was like, okay, well, time your contractions. Pretty much as soon as my water broke, I started contractions. And I'm guessing that the dream of someone kicking my vagina was my first contraction.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened. I started timing my contractions, and my contractions were getting like pretty intense pretty quickly, I would say. And then by the time I knew it, Ashley, my water broke at 6:30, and Ashley was at my house around what, 8:30, Ash?
Yeah, I think it was just after 8.
Yeah, yeah. And then I got ready, got all of my stuff together, and I decided to do my makeup. And that was difficult because I had to take breaks every 3 minutes, but I got it done. We put on, it was Saturday, so we put on soccer on the TV, and I labored at home for 6 hours. I think we left to the hospital around 12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we left to the hospital because my contractions were very intense, getting close together, and Ashley was like, we need to go to the hospital. Like, you have to probably be around 6 or 7 centimeters. So I was like, okay, perfect. Well, we get to the hospital, and they check me, and I am at 1 centimeter.
I think they said 1 to 2. I think that's what I heard.
She just heard 1.
2.
When you hear 1, your brain shuts down.
And
Not
I
brave.
actually was like, there's no way. Can someone else check her? And so someone else came, and then they checked me, and she's like, nope, she's about 1 to 2.
Wow.
And I was just heartbroken. My plan was to have a natural childbirth, and I felt like I prepared for it and I was ready. And then you get to that point where you think you're gonna have this baby pretty soon, and you get there and you've barely progressed since a week ago when I was at my doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
So that was a little heartbreaking. I continued to labor at the hospital, and for, I don't know, a couple hours, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 hours. And then I remember I love taking baths, and so I was in the tub, and it was almost like the tub intensified everything. So I was in there for maybe 2 minutes, Ash, and I got right back out.
It wasn't very long. Yeah.
Yeah. No, get me out of here. And I remember looking at my husband, and I said, I think I'm dying. I think I'm dying. I need an epidural. I can't do this. And so he was like, okay, well, let me talk to Ash, and you don't think you can do it? And I was like, well, I could have done it if I was at where everyone thought I was going to be at, but felt like I had so long to go. And so I said, no, I want the epidural. And Ash was like, no, you can do this. How about you give me an hour? And if you haven't progressed, then it's understandable. Gave her like an hour and a half, I remember. And I still hadn't progressed. And so at that point, it was like a little angel in the guy who gave me my epidural came into the room. And I got an epidural, and then I was also induced. When I got the epidural, things kind of slowed down again, so I got induced. And then it was really helpful because I feel like I could actually relax, and I slept a little bit. And it was just a really relaxing time at that point. My mom actually came in around 5:30, and we all thought that she was going to miss the birth.
Yeah, we'd even said to her like early in the day, like, oh, you're not going to make it, but you'll be a grandma when you get here.
Yeah. But she made it, and I was at 10 centimeters at around 10 p.m. And I started pushing at 10, and he was born at 10:36. So I pushed for 36 minutes, and he was here, and it was the most amazing thing to hear him cry, and to know that everything was okay, and to also have my mom in the room. That was really special.
Do you remember that feeling of relief? Like just that?
Yeah, because I told Ash, I'm like, I'm having this baby today. Like, there's no way I'm gonna roll into the next day. So I feel like there was, when I got the go to push, I was like, okay, it's go time. And so when I was pushing, and then I watched the entire thing, and I could see his head, and that was motivation for me to get him out. And then you hear that cry, and it's complete relief. And I remember at 6:30 in the morning and laboring all day, I'm like, is this baby ever gonna come? And then you hear that cry, and you're like, okay, I did it.
Yeah, it's really over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sydney had a birth photographer at her birth, and she did such a beautiful job capturing the essence of it. But, I was right beside. And so, like the photographer has such a unique perspective because she's kind of, on the perimeter of the room. But as soon as Cassius came out, the second you started crying like really hard.
Oh yeah, I was bawling.
Yeah. And just for like a minute, but there's a photograph of you that is just so raw, like your emotion, the baby's in your arms. And I'm so grateful you have that, because you never could have known what we saw.
Right.
Which was so powerful. Yeah.
Every single time I watch the video, I cry. Dom can't watch it because he cries too, so he refuses to watch it. But she did such a beautiful job. It was amazing.
Yeah, she was great. I talk a lot about birth photographers, and that I don't always love having a birth photographer there, because sometimes they're talkative and
distracting.
Yeah, they are distracting. But a really good birth photographer doesn't change the essence of what's happening. They just capture it, and that's really what she did.
Yeah, you didn't even know she was in there, to be honest. She was like a fly on the wall.
She was like a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Well, how has your breastfeeding been going? How's that? Was it like you expected? Easier, harder? How is that going for you?
Well, I would say that I am definitely blessed to be able to, be able to nurse my baby. That's something that was really important to me. But I produce milk as if my body had triplets. So they're always engorged. And now that I'm getting back to working out, my breasts are so big that I actually do not look like an athlete at all. So, and I'm very unbalanced.
Do you have the right protection? What are those called that you have to wear in your bra so you don't leak everywhere?
I actually leaked all over. We were at this store, and I was just talking about the baby.
Oh my God.
To one of the girls who worked there, and my mother-in-law was like, oh my God, you're leaking. And it was literally dripping on the floor, like through 3 layers of clothes.
Oh my gosh. I remember trying on a swimsuit after I had my baby, and I was like, what am I doing? I mean, it was just so embarrassing. I was like, I don't even want to I have to buy this now. It's like soaking wet.
I know. So I've been pumping my extra stuff and putting it in the freezer, which I showed Ashley.
It's shocking.
You'll be so happy though to have that. That's like your gold right there.
Yeah. So I definitely think I want to after, we'll see how long I can continue, especially when I go back to playing, but I definitely think that I want to donate that. I think that would be really special. So, yeah.
Well, it is really special because, Mom, it literally is liquid gold. When you can't make like you made, I saw Sydney and Dom 6 days after the baby was born, and Dom is just like pretty soft-spoken and just pretty sweet. And he said to me and my husband, there's just so much milk.
We are overflowing.
Yeah, I mean, he was
milk.
like, there's just so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. To be honest, a funny little story that just happened. I was actually just feeding Cassius, and my mom was sitting across the table from me, and I screamed, Mom, come here, come here. And she got up so fast she thought something was wrong. It was literally, number one, he was choking on it.
Yes.
I hadn't fed him in so long, so my breasts were so engorged, but it was like a sprinkler. I took him off. It was like a sprinkler system. Like, my mom started laughing. It was everywhere. So that was
it's so funny.
Sydney, I was like that too, and it cracks me up. You're reminding me. I had all these white dots on the inside of my car, and I couldn't figure out what they were. And finally, that exact thing happened. It was from sitting in the front seat nursing. And, you know, when they choke, they pop off, and then it just sprayed on the side of the car. But I never knew what it was.
What those dots are.
I was cleaning we have dark hardwood floors, and I'm like, what are all these white, like, drops everywhere? It's everywhere on the floors. And then I realized that it's from pumping and like bringing all the milk. So they're just like milk droplets everywhere.
Seriously.
Gosh. Well, how has motherhood changed you other than the overflow of milk that you probably weren't expecting? I know it's been a short 6 weeks, but how, as you just kind of touch into who you are now as mom, like how do you feel you have changed? And is it what you expected? Is it different?
I mean, I definitely have more patience. I think having a baby really teaches you that. You know, everyone always says, you always say, oh yeah, like I want kids, and I want to have a big family, but I don't know if I ever really believed it. I think I just told myself that I think I wanted kids because I thought that's something that you do in life, is you have a family. But he was not planned. And I think it was a time where I was just when I found out I was pregnant, it was a really hard time in my life. And I think that's why I cried so hard when he came out. I think he really saved me. And just looking at him, and, it was like the universe was like, I'm going to send you this baby because I know you need it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. He's the best thing that I've ever done. And just looking at him and seeing me and the person that I love just combined into this little tiny human being is just the most beautiful thing. But yeah, the things that you worried about before, you realize it's really nothing to worry about. It's just little things. And now that you have, this responsibility, he takes over everything, which is really amazing.
It is amazing. I think it's really wonderful that you, at just being a mom for 6 short weeks, are already like okay with that and honoring that when we don't fight against it, it's my unsolicited advice, that when we don't fight against it, then we get to really experience this sacred thing. Yeah, it's so great. And
once he came out, I'm like, oh my God, I want another one right away. And I hated being pregnant. So you forget everything once you see them. You forget all the pain. You forget, I forget how I felt when I found out I was pregnant. I was really sad. I was upset. And I told my husband that if I could take one thing back from the entire pregnancy, it was that when I found out I was pregnant, that I was happy. And so, next time when we actually plan to have more kids, I'm very excited for that, to find out and have happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if I were to go back, really none of my kids were planned. They just came. That I wish the same. I wish that I could have had perspective and known that it the universe loving me.
Yeah, it was planned. It just wasn't your plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And you just realize that they come at the perfect time, because really, if you were to plan all of your kids, you probably would never end up having them, because there's never the perfect time. You always want something else. Oh, we don't have a big enough car, or we don't have this, or our house isn't meant for a baby. Our house is definitely not meant for a baby, but you just make it work. And that's kind of what we've been learning to do, is just make things work, and they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole journey of motherhood really is like learning how to be less and less perfect, and because the second you're all ready to go, you could be dressed in white for church, and then they're going to have their big blowout. It's like
Exactly.
there's never that moment that it just continues to happen where you have to adapt and adjust. And it is really lovely to hear you talk that way, to see that this little human that you've only known for this short while is already becoming your teacher, and it's really beautiful.
Absolutely. And I had baby blues, I think. And you have days where your hormones are just so out of whack. And Ash came over, and she talked to me, and I was just crying, like not a bad cry, just you don't realize the love that you can have for something, and it's just overwhelming sometimes how much I love him.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about how your relationship with your husband has changed since becoming parents?
Yeah. I think it's so hard. Men and women are so different. And I was talking to my mom about this, and I talked to Dom about it as well. I said, I felt like when I first found out I was pregnant, it's like he didn't see that I was pregnant until I was showing. Whereas as soon as you find out you're pregnant as a woman, you're a mother.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, they don't see that until they can actually see it. He didn't feel him. So until he saw him, it was almost like it was surreal. It wasn't real until he laid eyes on him and he saw that was, our baby. But to be able to see him as a dad, I mean, it's like the most amazing thing. He's so obsessed with him, and our relationship is so much better. And just to see him, I don't know, look at his son, it like makes my heart melt. I hear him talking to him, in the other room, and it brings tears to my eyes. But it's amazing because both Dom and I do the same thing, and he so badly wants me to come back, and I'm excited for when Cassius can run out on the field with his dad, and then run out on the field the next weekend with his mom. I'm really excited for that, and for Cassius to have two strong parents in a really loving relationship. I think that's so important for kids to see. So we really want to have a really strong relationship for our son.
Well, there's a lot of eyes on your family since you're both professional athletes. And has that changed, you think, since becoming parents? And, we've talked a little bit about perfectionism with our own children, but how does that work with you all kind of being in that light? Do you feel pressured to be perfect?
I think with me, I've always just been myself, and some people like that and some people don't. And to me, that's okay, because I've always stayed true to who I am. And I think the hardest thing is for me, and to show other people, is that my body is not the same. I look in the mirror, and it makes me sad, because I was, at a time I was this elite athlete who was so in shape, and, back then I wanted to change so many things about my body because it was never perfect. And now I look back at pictures, and I'm like, oh my God,
Mhm.
I had such a nice body back then. Why didn't I appreciate it? So it really sheds a lot of light on um, just being able to appreciate your body before and now. I appreciate my body because it was able to create life. I don't think there's anything more unbelievable than being able to do that. Um, but coming back from that is hard. And so I'll get a lot of people saying, "Oh, when are you going to come back? When are you going to come back?" And I don't know because my body is still, it's birth is like traumatic to your body and what it does. And so coming back from that is hard. And I don't know when I'm able to come back. Of course, I'm trying to work out, but I'm so imbalanced. I'm tripping over myself. I mean, my boobs are so big that I can barely see when I put my cleats on. So just being able to be okay with that and to realize that it's going to take time is hard for me. Because I feel like everyone is just waiting to see if I do come back or if I don't, and that kind of that's tough.
It is tough. You and I talked about it just a little bit yesterday that it's hard for every single mom, that whether it's weight gain or a birth injury, or just trying to understand how your body works after childbirth. I can't think of one mom that I've met through the years that doesn't have the same struggle, but what's different for you is your body is your career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And you need it. And I realized how much of a beating it took when I played, never mind going through a pregnancy. So, I mean, what our bodies are capable of doing is honestly a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us, you had your first training, is that right, this morning?
Yeah,
How did that go?
I mean, it went as well as it could have gone, I think. I was actually pretty happy with myself.
Oh, good.
It took a little bit to get my touch back, and it's going to take even longer, but I felt good. Last week, I started doing weights and stuff, and I was so sore. I just didn't know if I was going to be able to lift my son at one point. But yeah, it felt really good. I've got a nutritionist now, so that's going to be really nice. Just being able to, it's hard to balance eating well when you're on the run and you have a newborn baby. So that'll hopefully help out a little bit.
Yeah. Is there anything that you'd like to share or promote, or ways that people can find you?
I would say just on social media, if anyone has questions, I definitely can answer them, especially about what it takes to come back. I haven't come back yet, but I promise that I will. I know that I will.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of when. And 6 weeks after I gave birth, I'm starting to get my touches back, and I'm starting to work out again, and I'm starting to feel better about myself. And I think what's difficult is we all have these unrealistic expectations that we put on ourselves. And once you have gone through this, and once you're a mom, I mean, I think all moms are just superwomen. I didn't realize how much sacrifices my mom made until I had my own. So it's just this unbelievable bond you have with other women who understand the same struggles that you go through. So I'm totally open to talking to anyone about all of the stuff that comes along with getting back into your career after you become a mom.
That's so needed. And you're part of the club now. So
Yeah.
once you're part of the club, it's like, especially during those first, I remember those several months, I was kind of a zombie my first 6 months of having my first baby. And, but I could tell the ones who were zombies with me. You know, you'll walk in the grocery store and you just have a special connection now with moms at those different stages, don't you think?
Totally. I remember when I was pregnant, and there was so many pregnant people. I feel like when you're pregnant, you always find pregnant people. And I remember the looks that we would give each other, like if we were in the grocery store, because it was like 100 degrees and we were so pregnant in the middle of the summer. And it was just like this look that you give to pregnant people when you're pregnant in Kansas City summertime.
Yeah,
Right.
and you look at their ankles and you're like, yep, I get it. Well, what would you like to say? Our podcast, the Mindful Mama Movement, we use the word mindful a lot when we describe kind of how we want to kind of sit in this moment with our children. And what would you describe a mindful mama to be?
That's a really good question. I would say Ashley actually put it really, she said the perfect thing to me when I was, you know, going through a hard time after I had the baby. And she said that you have to be where your feet are and to not plan, you know, and not look at the future or look at the past. You just have to be exactly where you are in this moment. Because if you don't, and that's what I was doing, is I was just looking towards the future and, oh my goodness, I'm not where I feel like I should be. Well, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So I think being mindful and being a mindful mama would just be to be in the moment and just to be in the moment with your babies and to take it all in.
I love it. Even though it came from me, I think you knew that also was, you know, what you needed to hear.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
Shannon and I hear just from, you know, a lot of moms, and that I think that's what we're all working toward, is to not be like, oh, I wish this would have gone a certain way.
Right.
Or, oh my God, I really hope that, you know, I can be doing this in 6 weeks or 10 weeks or 5 years.
Totally.
That then you're really missing the sacred experience that's happening right now.
Exactly. And it makes me sad because now he's kind of moving out of his newborn clothes. And I'm like, no. Go back.
I remember, like, you're gonna wear this one more time, like my favorite, like, little outfits. I'm gonna snap that thing one more day.
Yes.
Fit in it.
I still have a few of those in my sock drawer. I can't let them go. I just save them. I have one little with those little teeny tiny diapers.
Oh my God.
I just saved it. I don't know. I can't let it go. It's just too cute.
It's too cute.
Enjoy those little buns and the little toes.
So Sydney, we end each show with a mindful mama moment. And it's kind of a call to action to inspire other mamas. One takeaway from the show. Is there anything in particular that's a call to action that you'd like the moms that are listening to think about, or just to think about you and your journey?
That it's hard, but it's so much more rewarding than it is hard. I wouldn't take back anything. You know, I've won an Olympic gold medal. I've won a World Cup medal. And, you know, you think I was married, and you think all of these days are the best days of your life. And the best day of my life was, sorry.
No, I know what you're doing.
We know. Yeah. Better than an Olympic medal?
Yeah.
Better than a World Cup trophy?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was just getting to be his mom.
Yes. What a gift. Oh.
I agree. And just reminding yourself, somebody said to me once when my oldest was a baby, and I was holding him, it was one of my mom's friends. She'd like brought over a blanket, you know, as a gift. And she said, and he was tiny, like Kasia says, And she said, just today, don't write me a thank you note. Instead, hold your baby and memorize exactly how he feels right now in your arms. And, that was over 22 years ago, but I remember doing that. I remember I was at my mom's house and holding my baby and just trying to memorize exactly how his little body felt on my belly and my chest.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it was such a important moment for me.
Yeah.
This old lady was just
Yeah.
shared, like, don't write me a thank you note. Instead, like, this is what I wish I would have done.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the message to all the mamas today listening is no matter what age your child is, to just memorize this moment with your child, whether they're out of the home, you could give them a call, whether they're newborns or they're, those ornery teenagers, whatever age your children are, to just memorize this moment and be here now. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I also, every single time I talk about, my birth, I always say how important it was to have Ash. You were so amazing.
Doulas are the best, aren't they? They really are. Yeah.
And just how you helped me and how you helped my family was, I thank you so much.
Well, I feel the same about you, and I feel like now I'm crying. I feel so grateful. And when you were sharing about Dom, something that came up for me that I wanted to share is that I felt like pregnancy, witnessing him with you even in labor, it was like it was all about you for him. And then when the baby started coming, I really felt like I was witnessing him become a father.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about just Sydney anymore, and him supporting you. It was like so overwhelming watching him become a dad.
Oh, I know. It's overwhelming every day just watching him, and it's really so beautiful. I can't even explain it. But I'm also still learning how to become a mother, and we're doing it all together, and that's a really cool experience.
It is. It is. I'm still learning how to become a mom.
I don't think you ever stop learning. Exactly.
No, that's for sure. Sydney, it's been so wonderful talking with you, and thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you guys so much.
I love you, and thank you so much. We're just really grateful to be with you, and we'll make sure that you are, if you're not there already, on our Facebook page, and so moms can reach out to you there that are on the Mindful Mama movement.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, go get that milk going with that baby.
Yeah, I was actually pumping in the beginning of it.
I gotta see this freezer.
You're a mama when.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ashley will tell you about the freezer. It's
you need to send us a picture. Actually, that'd be
I
hilarious.
don't know why I didn't take a
to
picture.
put it in your post.
Yeah, I will. I'll send a picture. I'll be sure to send a picture.
I love it.
All right,
Okay,
happy
thanks,
day.
Sydney.
All right, thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that interview. I love her authenticity. I love her sharing this precious first few weeks with us as she's finding her way as a mom. And you can join us on the Mindful Mama Movement group Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and type in Mindful Mama Movement, or check out our show notes for the link, and join that group as we share in the discussion about our mindful moment this week, and share the conversation, what you got from this interview, what touched you. And Sydney is going to be stopping by our Facebook group to answer any questions you might have as well. So thanks for being part of our community. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for subscribing to our show, and we will see you next time.
And I can finally feel love. Open your heart and your soul. Follow. Take time to breathe, 'cause we know we never know. We've got All the